Have you ever experienced the kind of betrayal that leaves you breathless, like the wind's been knocked out of your soul? It usually doesn't come from enemies. It comes from the people you trusted the most. Friends, partners, people you shared your dreams, secrets, and vulnerabilities with. There's a unique kind of devastation in discovering that someone you trusted not only let you down, but did so in secret, behind your back, while looking you in the eyes and pretending everything was fine. That's exactly what happened to Mark. He wasn't just in love. He was invested. Fully. Deeply. He thought he had found his forever person. They didn't just date. They planned, dreamed. They looked at vacation spots together, picked out names for kids they hadn't even started trying for yet. She knew his favorite meal, the name of his childhood dog, and what made him laugh when he was stressed. But behind the scenes, she was already seeing someone else, for months. The truth didn't trickle in gently. It hit him all at once. A text he wasn't supposed to see. A slip of the tongue during a conversation. A feeling in his gut he could no longer ignore. When he finally confirmed it, everything inside him shattered. The betrayal wasn't just about her actions. It was about every moment she had smiled at him while living a lie. Mark's first instinct was the same as most of ours: to confront, to yell, to ask why, to demand answers for the months of deception. But something inside him paused. A small voice told him that no explanation could undo the damage, that giving her a stage to speak wasn't worth losing his calm, that maybe, just maybe, he didn't need to say a word to take back his power. Silence is a strange response when your world has just been turned upside down. Everything in your body wants to react. Your heart pounds, your fists clench, your voice rises in your throat. You want to scream, cry, throw something, make them understand the depth of your pain. But silence? It feels like doing nothing. And yet, silence is one of the most powerful moves you can make in the face of betrayal. It's not about being passive. It's about choosing peace over chaos, dignity over drama. When Mark found out about the betrayal, he sat alone in his apartment for hours. The messages were still fresh on his phone, undeniable proof of her deceit. His fingers hovered over the screen, itching to type, to confront, to demand an explanation. But something held him back. He realized that no amount of yelling would make her actions make sense. She had already made her choice. And so, he made his to stay silent. At first, she didn't even notice. But then came the texts. The "Can we talk?" messages. The "I think we should clear the air." She expected a reaction. When she didn't get one, she became desperate. That's when Mark understood the real power of silence. It forced her to sit with the weight of her own decisions. No distractions, no arguments. Just her and her guilt. Silence isn't weakness. It's restraint. It's the ability to say, "You don't get to pull me into your mess." It's a refusal to let someone else's chaos disrupt your inner world. By staying silent, Mark didn't suppress his emotions. He just chose to deal with them on his own terms. And that's what true strength looks like. Not shouting louder, but standing taller without saying a word. When someone betrays you, especially someone close, their guilt often doesn't settle quietly. Instead, it looks for a way out. And one of the easiest ways out is to make you react. Why? Because when you react, when you yell, demand answers, accuse, they suddenly have something to defend themselves against. Your reaction gives them a platform, a way to shift the focus from their actions to your emotions. It becomes less about what they did and more about how you're behaving. That's why staying silent is so unnerving to them. They crave a reaction, not because they want to understand your pain, but because they want to alleviate their own guilt. They want a fight, a conversation, anything that gives them a chance to rewrite the story. Mark understood this more clearly as the days passed. His ex didn't just reach out once, she messaged him repeatedly. Not to apologize in the beginning, but to try to spark an argument. She wanted to explain herself, to justify what she did, to shift the blame. But he didn't respond. And the silence, it echoed louder than any angry words ever could. It left, her alone with nothing but her own thoughts, and that was far more tormenting than any confrontation. Human psychology tells us that people fear the unknown more than the known. When you stay silent, they're left guessing. Are you furious? Are you indifferent? Have you moved on already? Their minds run wild with possibilities, and each imagined scenario is worse than the next. That silence becomes a psychological consequence they weren't prepared for. Mark didn't give her the argument she wanted. He didn't play the role of the broken, bitter ex. Instead, he gave her space to feel the full weight of what she'd done, alone. That's real power. Revenge is a seductive idea when you've been hurt. There's a voice in your head whispering that if they feel just a fraction of your pain, maybe justice will be served. Maybe then you'll feel better. But the truth is, revenge rooted in anger often leaves you feeling emptier than before. The cleanest, most impactful revenge doesn't come from hurting them. It comes from healing yourself. It comes from growth. That's what Mark chose. He didn't chase closure, didn't try to win her back or make her jealous. He disappeared, not just from her inbox, but from her world. And he poured every ounce of pain into building himself up. He started waking up early, going to the gym, eating better. He threw himself into work, picked up a new hobby, started journaling. He spent time with friends who actually showed up for him. Slowly, without even realizing it, he was transforming. His silence wasn't just a lack of words. It was space for reinvention. And the beauty of it? She saw it all from a distance. Months later, she reached out again, apologizing, talking about how much she missed him and regretted her choices. But by then, Mark didn't need her apology. He had already moved past needing anything from her. Her words didn't hit like they used to. They didn't matter. That's the cleanest kind of revenge. When the person who hurt you no longer has the power to affect you. When they finally look back and realize they lost someone they'll never have again, and you've already outgrown the need for any explanation. That's not spite. That's freedom. When you choose silence and focus on your growth, you don't just recover, you evolve. And nothing unsettles a betrayer more than realizing you've thrived without them. That's the ultimate mic drop. Silence doesn't mean pretending everything is fine. It doesn't mean suppressing your emotions or bottling up the pain. What it truly means is giving yourself the space to heal on your own terms, without interference, without noise, without the influence of the person who broke you. After the initial shock faded, Mark didn't just sit in silence and do nothing. He used that silence as a tool, a container to hold his pain and process it. He cried when he needed to. He allowed himself to grieve the version of his life that would never happen. He asked himself hard questions. Why did he ignore the early signs? Why did he hold on when deep down something felt off? Were there parts of himself he had abandoned in order to keep the relationship going? These were not questions with easy answers, but they were necessary ones. In the silence, Mark began to rebuild. He started reading books that helped him understand attachment and boundaries. He went to therapy, not just to vent, but to explore the patterns that led him into a relationship that didn't honor him. And over time, something remarkable happened. He stopped thinking about his ex, not because he forced himself to forget her, but because he finally started thinking about himself. Real healing isn't about proving you're fine, it's about becoming fine, day by day. Betrayal can steal your sense of worth if you let it, but silence helps you protect it, nourish it, and reclaim it. It gives you a chance to rediscover your values and learn how to spot red flags early next time. When Mark did begin dating again, he wasn't bitter or guarded. He was simply clearer on what he wanted, what he deserved, and most importantly, who he was. That's what real healing looks like.